Good morning, folks. Ron Bishop here from Timaru, New Zealand again. Beautiful day here today, pouring with rain. Lovely rain, good for the grass. I live in a country called New Zealand. Lovely green grass. It makes grass grow for cows and sheep, which we have in this country, which we export all around the world. We live in a wonderful country, but I'm a bit sad about it because there are some people coming into the country that's ruining it for everybody else. You'll see that I've got a collar and tie on this morning. I put the tie on because I'm going to be talking to the Prime Minister of New Zealand. I've just sent him an email, and this is what I said. Dear John, do you care? Do you have a young family, John? And if so, do you care that your government is committing manslaughter every day by allowing retailers to sell addictive drugs known as legal highs? Attached is an article with an idea that if it were put into practice by distributing the message nationwide, could put an end to the manslaughter of many of our naive and innocent young people. Unfortunately, unlike you, John, I don't have the resources or the funds to put my idea into practice, but you do. All I ask is that you read what I have to say about the idea of creating a drug-free country and get others to do the same. Kind regards, Ron E. Bishop, New Zealand motivator and promoter, Timaru Tourist Promotions Limited. So what was on the attachment? Well, let me show it to you. Here it is. This is the headline. Let's turn New Zealand into a drug-free country. And over here is a picture of an elephant. And it says how to eat an elephant. You eat it one bite at a time. Down here, it says how to make a country drug-free. You do it one town at a time. And there's a photo there of the Timaru council buildings. How do you make a country drug-free? One town at a time. How do you make a town drug-free? One street at a time. We're going to do it. We're going to do it, folks. We're going to do it one street at a time. At the moment, my goal is to get the drugs off the streets of the main street of Timaru, which is Stafford Street. And I'm working my butt off here trying to do it. And I want you to give me a hand. What you are looking at is a half a page of a tabloid newspaper. I did this article for the Courier newspaper, the Timaru Courier newspaper in Timaru. They're going to do a feature for me, I hope, in their paper. And this is what I wrote for them. I'm going to read it to you, okay, because it's very, very interesting and a very important article. Here it is. The piece of paper I'm holding up here has a headline called Let's Turn New Zealand into a Drug-Free Country. Why did I do this write this article? Because I want to put it into every newspaper, every tabloid newspaper in New Zealand. This is a half page of a tabloid newspaper, and I'm going to read it to you, what's on it. Here we go. Let's turn New Zealand into a drug-free country, is the headline. The majority of people reading this headline would agree that such an idea would have huge benefits to our country and its people. But to turn such an idea into reality would be an impossible task. Not so, says professional motivational coach Ron E. Bishop, who loves to do things no one else has ever attempted before. You tackle the task in the same way as you would eat an elephant, says Ron. One bite at a time. I've never eaten an elephant myself, but if I did decide to try, I would first reach out into the community to promote the idea and find others who would be willing to give me a hand. Every country has its problems with how to stop the manufacture and sale of life-threatening drugs. In my hometown in New Zealand, we are experiencing major problems with teenagers having access to drugs known as legal highs, and we are seeking public support for our campaign. Dizzy spells. For the first time in history, small rural towns in New Zealand are seeing these kinds of signs appearing on their main streets, and this is where the legal highs are being blatantly sold directly over the counter. The sad part about this story is that the neighbours of the drugstore Dizzy Spells in Timaru are powerless to do anything about it, so they just turn a blind eye to it. Up until now, small cities and towns like Timaru have never experienced these kinds of retail outlets, but local councils appear to be apathetic when choosing what kinds of businesses they permit to trade in the central business area. The Mayor of the Timaru City Council, Janie Yanir, is doing her level best to put a stop to legal highs falling into the hands of innocent teenagers, but she appears to be fighting a losing battle for lack of support by the local retailers and businesses. And there's a photo here of the signs that are outside the Dizzy Spells store, and the caption of the sign says, "Drug signs with sexual images in the main street of Timaru." Local newspapers. Front page headlines with photos of the legal highs in local daily newspapers are giving the drug dealers free publicity that they don't deserve. The internet is taking the negative images and stories around the world. The drugs are also being sold in suburban dairies and have received high-profile publicity in the local daily newspapers such as the Timaru Herald, and their owners, Fairfax Media, don't appear to want to stop them. And I've got a photograph here of the Timaru Herald online, and the headline is "Shops Defend Stance on Drugs." In the bottom corner of this article is "Support Wanted. Moral and financial support is urgently needed to promote the idea of making our towns and cities drug-free. To lend a hand, contact Ron E. Bishop, Timaru Promoter and New Zealand Promoter. Phone 03 686 1271. Now, the job I have to do now, using my own personal savings, because the government of New Zealand and the local bodies of New Zealand won't give me any money, they won't fund me, and I have to use my own personal money to do all this work. And my goal is to get this article out into every newspaper in New Zealand. Massive job. I can't do it. Impossible. But you can. You can give me a hand. You can do one little thing. You can pass this video on to somebody else and get them to listen to it. Maybe just one person in New Zealand might say, "Ron, that's a bloody good idea. Let me give you a hand." I'm going to do quite a few videos today. There's some more stuff in the newspaper I'm going to be talking about. In the local Timaru Herald, I'm going to be talking about some of the articles in there. But I'll get this one online now for you so you can have a look at it. And don't forget, here's my phone number. Ring me up. 03, if you live in New Zealand, it's 03 686 1271. Or if you want to send me an email, it's ron@timarudirectory.co.nz. Contact me. make a remark on the blog, on my blog, or on YouTube, whatever. Stir me up, growl at me, do something. But we must do something to bring about a change.